Hi guys, it's Honey Bee. Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, we'll be doing a story time of when I almost died. So it's a very tragic event that took place, and I am going to be putting in pictures of when I wasn't doing well. So trigger warning, if any of you guys don't like seeing that type of stuff, then now's your chance to exit. So now let's, no further time to waste. Let's get into the video. So August 14th, 2016, I believe I was 16 years old at this time. I was having very bad aches, like muscle pains. Like it was very unbearable. Like I can't even explain the pain that I was having at this time. I couldn't eat. I couldn't keep nothing down. So my mom was like, let's go to the ER. We go to the ER that night, and they told me to pee in a cup. Mind you, they didn't give me, they just said, go in there, pee in a cup. I couldn't pee. So at this point, they put a catheter in me, so they could make me go pee. The doctor didn't even run like my urine or anything. He just came back in and said I was very dehydrated. Go home, drink lots of water. He didn't give me fluids, nothing. So we go home and I'm laying in bed trying to get sleep, but just something told me that like if I go to sleep, I'm not going to wake up the next day. I go in and I lay my head on my mom's shoulder and she like jerks up and immediately grabs the thermometer, take my temperature, and it's like 105. She's like, no, we're going back to the doctor. Something's just not right. So at this point, guys, I'm feeling very like faint. I go outside. I sit on my porch steps waiting for them to come out and get all their stuff ready to take me to the hospital. So they finally get me in the car and I'm laying down the whole time. So I know this wasn't something like, normal for me, because when I'm sick, I usually still am up. But at this point, like I could not even be myself. Like I just couldn't sit up. I automatically wanted to lay down. I was in pain. So we get to the hospital and they literally gave me a number and told me to sit in the waiting room. They didn't check my blood pressure. They didn't do nothing. I was sitting in the waiting room. I was telling my mom, please make them hurry up. Please. Like something's just not feeling right. But they would not hurry up. So I'm sitting in the waiting room. They finally call my number so I can go back and they take my blood pressure, and I'm not sure I can remember exactly what my blood pressure was, but I do know it was extremely low, like deadly low. So the nurse ended up calling the head doctor of the ER, and basically saying that we're going to have to admit you. And I'm like, no, I just want to go home. And the nurse told me, like, if you go home, like, you're not going to be alive. Like, this is serious. So they ended up admitting me, and my mom ended up talking to the ER doctor about, like, our experience yesterday. Because the ER doctor was telling me, like, she's lucky to even be alive. Like, right now. Like with the blood pressure like that could have killed her. Like, so I don't know what happened to that doctor, but I believe he did get in trouble. So fast forward, they end up admitting me. They ended up getting me a room and getting me upstairs. They started giving me medicine and doing tests, trying to figure out what's going on with me, like what's causing me to be so sick. Like every test that they're running is coming back negative. Um, Next thing you know, I'm like I'm in pain. Like I'm having really, really bad like stomach pains, unbearable pains, like I'm screaming through the night. I don't know what's going on at this point. Like every test they're running, like they literally ran lupus, they were checking my appendix, they were doing CAT scans, MRIs, STD checks, anything they could think of, they were doing on me, and everything was coming back negative. So at this point, like, what is going on? Finally, they come up with a diagnosis. They say I have serotonin syndrome. Pretty much, everybody has serotonin in their body, but too much serotonin can be deadly and can have a really bad effect if you have too much serotonin in your body. However, so at this time, this is what they're thinking that I'm have, so they're treating me for that. I was finally able to eat, so I did go ahead and eat something from the cafeteria. Everything was fine. I was starting to feel a little better, so I was thinking maybe they found what was going on with me, that I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be home soon. So I'm going to insert a picture here. So after that, the next day, my stomach blowed up. Like when I tell you, I look like I was 9 months pregnant. I look like I was 9 months pregnant. My stomach was hard as a rock. Like I was having very bad pains. I couldn't use the bathroom. They were giving me depositories. They were giving me all types of stuff. Like I didn't know what was going on at this point. So at this point, they were doing x-rays on my stomach, and like I had like built up gas inside of my stomach. They had attached something to my stomach, I remember, to put like to pump like gas out of my stomach, to relieve pressure, like the pressure I was having off of my stomach. At this point, they needed to get the IVs that they had originally in me when I first got this stopped working, so they had to put a new IV inside of my arm. At this point, they could not get no IV in me whatsoever. When I'm telling you, like, they kept poking me like over and over. I'm pretty sure it was like 15 times. They even got different nurses trying to, come in, trying to help, that's been, more experienced in putting IVs in a person's arm, but they just couldn't get it in me. I was that dehydrated. Even with all the fluids that they were giving me in the hospital, I was just still dehydrated. So at this point, they brought me to ICU. because during this time my oxygen levels were going down. They said I couldn't eat because of the issues that I was having with my stomach, but I still, had to have some type of food. So they said that they had to stick a feeding tube inside of my nose, like to go through my throat. So before they could transfer me to ICU, they wanted to get all of this done. So I'm still at the in the regular room at this point. Doctors come in, they put it they stick the tube up my nose to go down through my throat. And I kid you not, that's the worst pain that I ever felt. Besides the fact that they're poking me a million times, I'm screaming, I'm crying, saying I want to go home. It's a lot that I'm going through at this point. So they finally get all that done and they transport me to ICU. So they can watch me. At this point, I'm on a oxygen, a little oxygen mask.
I almost died last night, but then God was with me, and I'm still here. Feeling a high fever, everything else. I'm up at ICU right now.
Alright, so I'm gonna try to piece together what I can, because some of this is vague. This did happen when I was very young, so I'm gonna do the best I can into piecing everything together. But I do know that I was in the hospital for 4 days, where I was at, in my hometown. So we're gonna skip ahead to the 4th day. So the 4th day is the worst. I had went septic. So for those who don't know what septic is, it's pretty much a life-threatening condition. It's when you have an infection in your body that starts shutting down your organs. If not treated, it can kill you. People who do go septic have a low chance of survival. Lucky I did survive, but I almost didn't. So it's very dangerous if not treated quickly. So at this point, the last thing I remember before I went unresponsive is I told my mom that I want my pediatrician there. So she called my pediatrician, and normally pediatricians don't come to the hospital to visit their patients. Well, mine did. He came up there and looked at me, and he didn't even know what to say. He basically told my mom, I don't think she's gonna make it. The doctors out there was telling me, and at this point, the doctors at the hospital told me, I don't know what's going on with her. We ran every test, everything came back normal. At this point, there's nothing more that we can do for her. We did everything. So I remember that my grandpa and my grandma was there. I remember my brother and his wife and kids was there in this big room, along with this doctor. I don't remember his name. And I remember seeing my pediatrician. and then I blacked out. So on the side, from what I was told by other people at this point, is my sister, which she doesn't live in Rockford. She got on the phone with my mom and told my mom, do not stop, do not give up on her, have them send her to a different hospital. So that's what she did. She told them, get my daughter on a plane or whatever you have to do and get her somewhere else. So they ended up getting, it was either between Chicago's hospital or Madison's Children's Hospital. My mom ended up going with Madison's Children's Hospital. So they were getting ready, like the plane to get ready to transport me somewhere else. So I believe they gave me like some sedation medication to pretty much, you know, make sure I'm out for the ride. The doctors tell my mom, like, you could start leaving and get a head start up there, because, you know, the airplane drives pretty quickly and we would be there faster anyway. So she might want to leave now. So at this point, my mom's car, well, my dad's car, it stopped working. So my brother ended up driving them up to Madison. And I got on the airplane. I don't remember any of that ride because, of course, I was out. But what I do know is in the middle of the ride, they did end up having complications, and I ended up coding on the airplane. They had to bring me back, and they ended up having to put a ventilator in my throat. They called my mom and told her, like, they're gonna be a little late. They had the complications. They told her what was going on. She started freaking out. But the doctors assured you that everything's gonna be okay. We're gonna be there. Just, you know, get to the hospital. So I finally did arrive. I was in a medical seduced coma at this point. They told, the doctor came in and told my mom and my brother and them, because they were sitting in the waiting room, that do not freak out. She looks terrible. But she has a lot of like machines and cords hooked up to her. And that she's in a medical seduced coma, because whatever she has, we're trying to fight it with different antibiotics. So they go in and they see me. At this point, again, going off of what I was told, I had a IV in my neck. I had an IV in both of my arms, chest, like a feeding tube in my nose. I had the ventilator. I had a whole bunch of like tubes hooked up to like my IVs to give me like different kind of medications. It was like, I was looking bad. So again, I'm gonna link a photo here of what I look like at this point. So from there, I was in a medical coma for 2 weeks. Finally, I did open my eyes. When I opened my eyes, there was a lot of doctors around me, like a lot. So pretty much Madison is a children's hospital, but it's also a college hospital. So it has like regular doctors, doctors that's in college, you know, just all different types of doctors. So, you know, there's not just one person having an idea trying to figure out something. There's multiple doctors coming in the room trying to find a plan to see what's going on with me. So they were working around the clock just trying to figure out what it could be. So I opened my eyes, they were swollen, like I barely could see out of my eyes, because like all the medicine that they were giving me, like it swelled me up. Like my face was fat. Like on top of that, they had leg warmers on me to try to, you know, keep the blood flowing in my legs for laying in bed so long, making sure there was padding under like my back and stuff, so I wasn't getting like you know, them blisters from laying in the bed so long. Like they were, you know, doing everything that they possibly could for me to keep me comfortable, as well as fighting whatever I'm fighting. So where I'm laying there, and you know, I do this with my hand. I'm telling them like, give me something to write with. So, you know, I'm texting, like they gave me like a dry erase board, and I'm like writing with my eyes swollen shut as best as what I could. So I'm like, where am I? And they're like, you're in the hospital. I'm like, what happened? You know, they're telling me that like we're trying to figure out what's going on with you. Like, oh, fast forward, I almost skipped over something. So when I first woke up, I was trying to yank the thing out my throat because I was scared. I didn't know, you know, like I wasn't aware they put this thing in my throat. Like, what is it? Like, you know, I'm out of it. I don't know what's going on at this point, but they had me tied down to the bed for that reason. So I couldn't move. But like my dad was next to me and was telling me, calm down, it's okay, it's okay. You're fine, you'll be okay. So, you know, I was very scared at this point, like, and I'm still in pain, mind you. So now at this point, like, they take me to do x-rays on me now that I'm woken up, and they see that I have a lot of fluid in my lungs. Not so much, what side was it? Not so much on the right side, I believe. It was the left side that was full, and they needed to drain it. So they end up having to do surgery, like a little surgery on me, to put like a chest tube in my lungs so they could drain the fluid out of my lung as well at this point. I'm continuing to write on the dry erase board. They're, you know, doing antibiotics and stuff, trying to fight whatever could be possibly going on with me. They still don't know what it is, but you know, they're treating me with different antibiotics because they know that it is some type of infection, but what infection is what they're trying to figure out. But it seems to be working, or whatever they were doing. So day by day, they finally would try to reduce like my oxygen, like, you know, tie the like life support down a little bit, see if I could handle it. At one point they tried doing it, it didn't work. They had to bump it back up because my oxygen level still wasn't wasn't staying up. You know, it was a process. They finally did figure out what was going on with me. So what I had was peritonitis. What peritonitis is pretty much when there's like a hole in your intestine, and like, you know, basically stuff ends up going from your intestines into your bloodstream and making you really sick. And it's very rare for people to get this type of infection. So a lot of doctors don't test for it because it's so rare. But I was one of those people that ended up getting this rare infection. So now that they know what's going on, they know how to treat it. So at this point, they're giving me antibiotics still, but specifically to treat this type of infection that I'm having. So they're trying to figure out, so after they found out what was going on, you're taking it day by day. They're trying to get the rest of this fluid off of my lungs. Again, they're trying to dim the oxygen levels down. They finally were able to, you know, eventually wean me off of the life support. But from there, I had this like big orange mask on after I got off of life support, which again, I'll insert a picture on what that looks like here. I believe I have that one. I'm pretty sure I do. So after they get me off of the life support, these doctors, or like this respiratory like person would come in every like hour, and I would have to pump like in this machine of stuff to go inside of me. I think it like supposed to expand my lungs and build them back up, because mind you, like this infection was shutting down, like trying to shut down my organs, so like everything was weak. So I had to do that every hour, and mind you, it was like a weird taste. Like it was air, but it like had, I think it had some type of medicine in it. I just know I did not like it. So at this point, I did lose my ability to walk because I was in bed for so long without getting up. Like my whole body was weak. So I'm still on oxygen. You know, they're giving me this medicine. I'm getting better slowly by each day, every day. It gets to the point where they take the oxygen and they would let me breathe for a little bit until like my levels would go low, so they would have to put it back on again, and they would keep doing that, trying to like build, you know, my lungs up stronger. Now this is where kind of stuff took a turn as well, because not only am I battling an infection, between the hospital I was at before and this hospital, one of them gave me head lice. So not only am I battling a like infection, the doctors had to come in and do a lice treatment on my hair. And I'm pretty sure it was probably the hospital I was at before. but I had to be on a lockdown, and doctors had to come in like with suits and stuff until they was able to get rid of the lice out of my head. So, and the reason why they found out I had a lot of this is my sister was like, she would do my hair while I was in there trying to make me still feel pretty, because like, again, I was all swollen. You know, my stomach was blown up. Still at this point, I still look pregnant. Doctors kept asking me, do you think that I could be pregnant? And I keep telling them I'm not. Like, something, I feel like the sickness is what's causing this. Like, I'm not pregnant. But yeah, she would just make me try to feel pretty. So she's doing my hair and she's seen a bug. So she was telling mom, and mom ended up coming over and looking, and sure enough, I had head lice. So in the mix of all that, the nurses are trying to work with me to sit up and stuff, and trying to build the strength in me. I couldn't pick up a spoon. I couldn't feed myself. I couldn't sit on the toilet by myself. Like, it was bad. Like, I had to learn how to do everything all over again. Like, just imagine, like, you know, you do this stuff as a baby, but then lose your ability to do everything, and trying to do it at 16 all over again. It's hard, but I had to keep pushing through, and I did. I got better. They were like therapy people coming and helping me. Like, they would have me climb stairs. Like at first it didn't start out as stairs. It would start as little things, like sitting down in a chair, standing up, getting from out the chair, then up, then down, to trying to bend over and grab something, to back up. Like, you know, they would work through you up. Because before I could go home, I had to learn how to do all that stuff. I had to learn how to brush my teeth by myself. I had to learn how to get up and down from the toilet by myself. I had to pass all these tests before I could even go home. So I was in the hospital in Madison for a month. So in the meantime, I do want to say that when I was really, really sick, something in my ear told me it's not your time. Like, today's not finna be that day. Like, you're going to get through this. When I blacked out, I just know I was on a bed, like, and there was people around me singing, angels guiding me, and next thing you know, I'm in this big door, like these big doors, and it's a light, like very bright light all around me, and I see God. And at this time, I was being really mean to my parents, and he was telling me, like, you have to change, like, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I didn't believe in God until this moment. It's like he brought me through this for a reason, and from there on, I know he's real. Like, I seen him, I witnessed this, and for me to remember this so vaguely, like, I know it's real, like, and I will forever hold on to this memory, like, for life. But, like, all I know is that as much as I was going through all this pain, for that split second, it was happiness. Like, nothing else mattered besides being up there around them it felt like pure happiness, bright lights. So, and it's just like, this was a crazy experience for me, and for the longest I was scared that it was going to happen again. I finally did get out of the hospital, and from there I had to go to a lot of doctors, gastrologists. I had to drink this powder stuff. I had to do a lot, and then I lost a lot of weight from being so sick as well. Like, I almost looked anorexic, and, you know, going back to school and seeing, like, people looking at me because, like, I'm not my normal weight. I'm super skinny, and, like, I ended up missing school. Like, school started at this time. It was, you know, I was excited to go back to school. I think I was a sophomore, and I couldn't start. Everybody else started. I had to start late because I was sick. So it was just terrible, but I ended up getting through it, and I ended up going home finally. It was also catering to my parents because they were able to get these, I forgot what it was, but like insurance basically covered them staying at like a hotel while they were up there, and like they would get like sandwiches and food and stuff so they could eat, being that I'm up there. I think actually the hospital provided that. When it was time for me to go home, me and my dad actually had to take a bus home. Mind you, I could not walk all the way yet, so I had to walk with a walker. Because I was still learning how to walk again, so. And he was walking extremely fast, and I'm like, wait, slow down, I can't walk that fast. It was like a crazy experience, but I'm here, I'm living. We figured it out, we got through it. With that being said, that is the way that is how I ended up dying. It was a very scary experience, but all in all, I guess the best way to look at it is that I did survive it, and I did overcome it. And I always just want to let people know to make sure that they treat everybody with kindness, because you just never know when something tragic can happen like that in the blink of an eye. Because I just know I didn't know that it was going to happen to me. I was fine one minute, the next minute I'm sick. It just can happen out of nowhere. Life is so valuable. Like, you just have to treat life like special, like really, really special, because life is short. And with that being said, I really don't have nothing really much more to say. I know I probably did leave out some things, because, you know, I was out of it half the time. I like just put pieces together of what people has told me and what I do remember. So if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and comment and subscribe. Like I said, I will be posting back-to-back bangers. If you want another story time, let me know. I have a couple other stories that I can you know, tell you guys, some interesting stories. With that being said, I'm out. Bye. Vivo, 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 estás cabrón, soy yo. Vivo, vivo, vivo,